Saturday, October 20th, 5 p.m. Mountain Time, 2018. Guys, before we get started in this video, I want to share a picture that was sent in today by Suzie. This was taken from South Maryland, looking east just prior to sunrise. That is a classic Hallmark moment, much like this video that was sent in by Nancy from Citrus County, Florida. The same phenomenon around the same time, first week of October. And in this video, you can see these sky beams stretch from horizon to horizon. And they are impressive when you see these things. And I personally have seen these myself back in 2008. And it was during the month of October in 2008. Right before sunset out here in Phoenix, saw these beams stretch from horizon to horizon. And yes, they are very impressive. At the time, I didn't even have an iPhone. That's how long ago it was. All I had was a flip phone. Or I would have been doing the same thing that she's doing, recording them. I haven't seen them like this in many years, but I have seen them before, yes. And it was in the month of October. It looked exactly like that. It was a little darker, though. She caught these early. Again, this was from Citrus County, Florida, sent in by Nancy. Thank you, Nancy. Thank you, Suzie. And I know we can argue the source of these light beams that are seen from time to time just prior to sunrise and sunset. I don't want to get into that right now, but if you'll notice, we've seen a big uptick in these things since the last week of September. And they're still continuing to this day. In fact, I haven't got any in the last probably 4 or 5 days, but I've gotten a lot more than I've gotten all year long, or in the last 6 months. I've gotten the majority in the last 2 or 3 weeks of these big high-profile beams in the sky. So thanks for sharing, guys. I greatly appreciate it. I want to talk about what's going on around the globe, not only in the northern hemisphere, but the southern hemisphere as well. These are just a few of the examples, guys. These are by no means all of the examples, but it's intense flooding that's causing landslides, washing away bridges, causing states of emergencies all over the globe. It's literally like the days of Noah. It's just not encapsulating the entire globe yet. But here's an example from Scotland, and this is a record. They saw record rain back the first week of October. The story's from BBC News, dated October the 9th. This occurred on the 8th, and you can see a picture here of landslides, and this prompted water rescues, evacuations, just things that they're not used to seeing up in Scotland. Red alert here in France, schools closed, massive flash flooding that occurred. This story is October the 15th from watchers.news here. In fact, several good articles of just a few of the examples of the flooding going on around the earth here at watchers.news. And this was also a record. And if I'm not mistaken, this set a record that goes back to over 100 years. They hadn't seen anything like this in 100 years. Cars floating. We're seeing more examples of cars floating now on roads, not in rivers or lakes, on dry roads, or what used to be dry roads. And that seems to be the more common trend now. It's like we need to build cars and trucks with 6-foot tires just to make it through an afternoon thunderstorm. Just unbelievable. I've never seen so many pictures of cars and trucks floating down roads as I've seen in the last 2 or 3 months. And it seems to be intensifying. This is another record. Leslie, that was a tropical storm, hurricane for many weeks out in the mid-Atlantic Ocean, and then it took off and went right into Portugal. And as far as they know, this has never happened. Or at least it set records that went back to 1842. 300,000 homes without power, strongest storm since 1842. Quite possibly, from what I'm understanding, it's the first hurricane, tropical storm of its kind, to ever make landfall in Portugal. Unbelievable? Another record. Like here, unprecedented October rain hits desert nation of Qatar. And what are we seeing? Cars floating in roads. These are roads. That tells you how fast this rain is coming down in different places. And it's not just one place here or there. It's all over the globe in the northern and southern hemisphere. Tunisia, cars, again, being washed away. They are turning into amphibious vehicles, but they're not amphibious. Indonesia, Malaysia, landslide in Baku. I've got reports from Yemen. This storm here, Luban, it made landfall as a tropical storm. They saw several years worth of rain in Yemen in 24 hours. Several years worth of rain right here. 24 hours, several years worth of rain in Yemen. Just another of probably dozens of examples, really. Here's another example from Spain, dated October 18th. Record-setting rainfall in Spain. I'd like to thank Teresa for sharing this article with me. It's another example of flooding in Spain. This one's dated October 19th, and you can see it's affecting agriculture, roads closed, water rescues prompted, bridges, like right here, this bridge is on the verge of being washed out. You saw a helicopter there where they had to do rescues. This type of event is happening all around the world. Here's an event in Tunisia. Cars, once again, being washed away, turning into not very good boats because they don't float that well. Cyclone Titli aftermath affecting the agriculture, and this was over in India. People missing. Record-setting rain once again. Rivers out of their banks. They just couldn't handle all of the water because it's coming down way too fast. Like here in Texas. Washed away a bridge that's been there for decades. Flash flooding, extreme rainfall. This is near Austin, Texas, where they had to declare a state of emergency. Big bridge washed out. Lake Travis, which is a huge lake, is up to 704 feet according to this gauge right here. The record is 710 feet. It's a very big, deep lake, and it's going to stay in the purple, which is major flood stage, for quite a while. They're releasing some of the water now from the dam. Right here is an aerial view from above the dam. This is looking down the Colorado River from Lake Travis. The water is being released right now as I do this video from the dam right here, which has prompted evacuations downstream because there's over 30 feet of water, additional water, inside of Lake Travis. And I've seen videos of Lake Travis that look like an ocean with white caps and water bouncing around like almost like an earthquake. It was really weird. I can't find the video now. The gentleman's last name was Rogers. I saw it on Facebook. That's all I know. But here again, it's reached its highest level in more than 21 years. And that happened in about 24 hours. More video from Lake Travis. Here's a restaurant, and all you can see is the roof. Unbelievable. And what I think's going on, guys, is there's more moisture in the atmosphere now than there ever has been, at least in our lifetimes. This is Google Earth when the weather feature is turned on. And this is what I think, and I'm going to summarize it real quickly. You know, we follow the UV here at this channel and have for 2 years. We take UV readings from different parts of the United States, Canada, and Northern Europe. Occasionally, I'll get a report from Australia. And not every day, but most of the days, especially for whatever reasons, above the 40-degree latitude, the UV has been consistently higher. I got record readings for at least Team UV, our little team of people that take readings, especially from southern Canada, north of Washington, the state of Washington. The UV A and B one day was 16 up here. What I think that's doing, and it was consistently high up there, what I think it's doing is creating an increase in the evaporation rates of water. So we're seeing an increase in rainfall rates as a result. That's the only thing that I can think of. You know, there's possibly other reasons, but I think the UV is increasing the evaporation rates of water, and it's affecting the global atmospheric levels of moisture, and it's creating record-setting rain all over the globe. That's my theory. That's what I think is going on, because the UV is definitely higher. So it's causing water to disappear, or at least it's turning it into vapor. It's going up into the atmosphere. You know, there's always been the same amount of water volume on Earth for thousands of years, whether it's in the form of liquid, vapor, snow, or ice. You know, I had a gentleman send me a video today of snow in West Chicago, and when you looked on the radar, you didn't even see anything on the radar. It's kind of weird. So it's just a theory, guys. I think there's more. The atmosphere is trying to manage more moisture, and it's just having to let it go. And it's coming down. We're getting a year's worth of rain in 24 hours instead of a year. You see what I mean? 2 more storms here in the East Pacific. Willa and Vicente. So this is number 22 and number 23 for the East Pacific. So record year for the East Pacific. I don't know if that's a record. I know it's more than the Atlantic had. This storm right here, Willa, could bring more rainfall. This is Vicente. Willa is here, supposed to rapidly intensify to a Cat 3 in 36 hours, remain a Cat 3 for another 36 hours, make landfall in West Mexico as a Category 1. They will be dealing with an abundance of rainfall for the next week along here from both of these tropical storms. And again, we have loads of atmospheric moisture that are going to come inland over the state of Texas. Probably by this time next week, they could be seeing more flooding, just as they're trying to get a handle on what they've recently had, over a foot of rain in places. And again, back to the water that we're seeing coming from the skies around the world. I think it's just trying to manage more moisture, and it's coming down in buckets, literally. We're seeing rainfall rates setting historic records, seems like now, on a weekly basis. Pretty incredible. All right, guys, that's all I got for now. Thanks for watching. Have a super day, and as always, be safe out there.